Okay, so I know a lot of people have been anticipating this engine for the last 5 to 7 years since it was introduced. I never thought it would ever be out. But finally it came out last month, and it has been kind of a disappointment because a lot of people who own it now have complained about not pulling much. Well, same thing with mine. It was doing the same thing. On this layout that this club I'm part of, has some intense grades, and even just a slight 0.5%, and man, this thing would just slip, and it would just drive me nuts. And I couldn't even run like 10 cars. It wouldn't even run that. And I have like KD wheels on my trucks, and I oil them, and they should work well. Well, the problem is, it doesn't. So I found out that there was a little issue that I noticed, and it is because of this driver. This driver here has a traction tire, and you think, well, if it has a traction tire, it should be pulling more. Problem is, this engine here had a little issue with this driver, causing this driver not to be on the rail, and so there was no traction with that traction tire to have this engine pull more than it should. So it was actually kind of pulling on its natural ability without a traction tire. Because this engine right here, this UP482 that I own, I am an SP and UP fan. I model them at different times. I model UP during the war, and I run model UP in the 50s. But the thing is, this engine here is much lighter than this engine. So, and the reason this one can pull so much is because on its back driver, right here, it actually has a traction tire, so it can actually pull it can pull more than what the weight of the engine is. Okay, because this engine's lighter than this one. So that to me didn't make any sense. Well, here's the thing. This driver has two springs, okay, and they're very tiny. They're about the size of the springs that are in your KD couplers. They're a little longer, but a spring in a KD coupler I'm gonna shut that off. Okay, was pushing against the driver, and so technically it would look like this. And if you look at yours that you own, you will notice that. I swear you will notice that it's doing that. And so there was a lot of play, and there is a lot of play when you push down on this, and it's because there's too much tension on those springs. So I took out all the screws underneath and the one on the trailing truck, and got inside. I'm gonna shut that thing up. Okay, and I took out the springs with some tweezers. Very easy. It will not compromise the operation of the model. So I took them out. I snapped the driver back in. There's these little plastic things that hold the axle in place so the drivers don't move all over the place and stuff like that. But you do that. You put the screw. You reverse it from the steps that are on Southern Pacific modelers, and now you have a more operational locomotive. Okay, and so when this procedure is done, it will pull more because this driver is now finally on the rail. So in a minute here, I'm going to show you what it will do on this layout after this procedure. And I would recommend doing it. And I have talked to Athearn about some of the springs, and they said a lot of them in this model were because of the tensions that were in them. And so I do not know if the second run or the other two numbers that have not been released will be fixed. But they said that they would get some springs in August, and they would not tell me what springs. They said one for the only one he said was the lead truck, but he said there would be some other springs that were going to be out in August. So I'm hoping that I can get the springs replaced but even without them, it doesn't cause any problems. It actually makes the model a much better engine, and it makes me happy to enjoy running this model, despite they paid $319.95 plus tax here in Tacoma. So without further ado, without me just babbling on, I'm going to show you the operations of this locomotive, and you will see it pulling about 30 cars on some pretty on at least a 1.5 to 2% grade. Alright, so now I got it all hooked up, and you can see it is a pretty long train there, and I got it all ready to go. So I'm going to start it, and I'll swear this is a really nice locomotive once this is repaired. And I'll tell you, you will not be disappointed doing this. But I am going to tell you, do it at your own risk. I am not taking responsibility for your negligence if you screw it up on your own model. And I do need to get the chuff rate fixed. That is one thing that's on my list of getting fixed, including the headlight. It does not work. It did burn out. And I did not put any of that bullfrosting on it. That stuff's just overpriced. This is all stock. As you see right here, this is actually going up a grade, and it's actually able to handle it. This is about a 1.5% grade, and then, man, it can pull it. I don't see any slipping or anything. I mean, it's handling it. So that's all it needs, is getting those stinking springs removed, and this model is just phenomenal. So if you feel like you wasted $300 to $400, whatever you paid for it, and feel like, gee, what a piece of crap it is, well, if you do this procedure, you're not going to make it a piece of crap anymore. That pretty much concludes this. You probably noticed the headlights out, and it did burn out. One fact I will tell you: do not press F7 to make the headlight brighter. You will entirely regret it. So I gotta take off the boiler face and take out this screw that holds this piece of weight in there, and cut the bulb out and put it back and put a new and solder a new one in, which is not going to be really fun to do, but it's going to be better than nothing. Right now it kind of annoys me there's no headlight, but it works great. It's running the way it's supposed to, and it's running almost 30 cars on this in this consist, and so I would recommend it, but again, do it at your own risk. I will not take any responsibility for negligence to the model or any way that you've screwed it up. You may also avoid warranty doing it, but I mean, Athearn, you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars designing this model and engineering it, and you can't get it right. And so technically just do it, and Athearn can go screw themselves, because I swear this has been kind of a disappointment of a model. But and it's kind of sad that you kind of leave it to the modeler to fix it. I mean, as a model roader, I guess we're always supposed to fix things, but the thing is, spend $320 or even more. I don't know how much you guys paid for it, but here's the thing. You shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to fix this, and Athearn just hasn't seemed to get their stuff right. And you think for a model that's been taking 5 to 7 years. I graduated in high school in 08, and this engine was already announced to be coming out that the following year in 2009. It's 2015, and you think, well, if it takes this long, this model should be phenomenal. Well, apparently not. So I do not know if the ones in January will be any better. So if you do want to get one with the daylight tender, I just want to give you a quick warning. It may have the same problems where it's not going to pull because of a couple of springs above that first driver behind the leading truck. But if you want to get one and willing to fix it, it is a model worth to buy. But other than that, it is a bit of a disappointment. So anyway, hope you enjoyed.